I'm Robbie.
And I'm Jen.
And we're doing the
John Muir Trail.
Smartwater, the official sponsor of the John Muir Trail. Why is it yellow, you ask?
Co-sponsored by Noon.
It's not pee. You don't have to pack that out, silly.
It's officially 211 miles that starts in the valley at Yosemite National Park and ends at Mount Whitney.
All right.
Ooh, mosquitoes are on me.
3 and we're about 15 miles in. About to camp here at the top of Lyle Canyon and go up Donahue Pass tomorrow morning. Early start, probably 3:30 or so. Going over Donahue Pass. Over there, that's not the pass.
We thought this was the pass.
We got a little bit scared, but the pass is actually across that river and then back up that side where there's significantly less snow. Seeing lots of marmots up here, crossing some snow, getting our feet wet. It's a good day. Thousand Island Lake down there. This snowfield is the trail. So we're sitting here at Ruby Lake for a snack break this morning. Jen's over there. She's a little hot and itchy, but we're doing all right. The first couple of days to get up here to the mountains, to the higher altitude, was a little grueling, but now that we're up here, it's so gorgeous that the climbing feels a lot easier. Let me turn this around and so you can see our view for our snack break here. So right here, we've got Ruby Lake. Snow still coming way down, right down the side of the mountain into the lake. We've still had pretty significant snow travel, although it's been pretty slushy once the sun comes up, so it's not been so bad to cross. We've been hearing a lot of crazy things about this little patch here on Garnet Lake, and it was super sketchy, but we took it slow and it was all right. We're at Lake Virginia. This place might be the most picturesque lake I have ever seen in my entire life. Look at this. Absolutely stunning.
I'm in what I call my Dumbo, where I put my towel over my head to cover it from the sun. And it makes me look like an elephant. But it's good sun protection because it's brutal out here. But yeah, we climbed around a ridge line mostly today, through some lakes, went down to Purple Lake and came back up, went over some unnamed pass, and now we're here at Lake Virginia. It's really pretty.
And we are about to go over Silver Pass. Back there. Got a huge river flowing down from it. Lots of snow up there. Yeah.
Robbie got bit by a bee yesterday.
Stung?
I
got stung by a bee.
Okay, we're at the top of Silver Pass. Came up here this morning. It's 11 a.m. and we came through that valley and then saw a view of this, which was pretty cool. And then we went around the backside of this little mound, came up through these lakes, and you can see this frozen lake over here, and then just kind of meandered our way up to this really snowy peak. You can't really see it from here, but there's an area that we were hiking up, where we put on our micro spikes because it was really, really steep.
So we were coming up this side of the pass and we walked up this really steep section with our spikes on. But if we were coming down, we would have gone down this glissade. That looks like a lot of fun. The best part of the day right here. John Muir Wilderness! We're about to go over Selden Pass. We came up, camped just past Bear Creek last night, about a mile up from crossing it. Got a lot of like rain and thunderstorms, but the lightning kind of held. The mountains held it away about a mile away from us, so that was good. Still, it's a little bit dark and cloudy up here on the pass, but like with a name like Selden, it probably wears a pocket protector and people steal his lunch money, so I'm not worried.
It's almost Sheldon. Not. One letter off. His parents.
Selden, really?
Yeah. His parents did him a disservice.
We've got today's snack wrappers.
In what we call
the trash pocket. This is really bad. 20 minutes later, we're at the top. Waterfall is coming down. Creek, snow, everything all at once. Oh man. This is the San Joaquin Bridge. It is very much down. So we got a decision to make.
It has been the talk of the town. Everybody on the JMT this whole year has mentioned this bridge being down and what you're gonna do about it.
And it seems like there's about half the crowd is just going for it. And the other half is taking this really long detour over 2 more passes into town, hitchhike to another trailhead, get back on, hike some more back to the JMT. So there's only 2 options really, and it's crossing the bridge or going way around. Well, we chose the bridge. We made it across. I went across, carried my pack, went back across, carried Jen's back over, and then Jen came over. We did it. It was very sketchy. Would probably not recommend. Don't do it. It was terrifying.
I cried after.
Jen exploded into tears as soon as she made it back to solid ground. It's probably the most exposed pass on the whole trail. Walking down across the snowfield with our spikes on. It's pretty icy, nice August day. Some mornings, you just can't walk anymore. We're approaching Muir Pass about 10:30 in the morning. That's Jen there behind me hiking. And it's starting to look pretty ominous. Skies are pretty dark. It's starting to rain again. But I think we'll probably be all right. Worst case, there is the Muir hut up top. If we get caught in a storm or anything, I'm about to put on my rain jacket and keep going. Pass is over there. Storm's blowing over, kind of whited out over there. Pouring rain, a little bit of a lightning storm, as you can probably hear. We came back down the mountain a little bit to seek a little bit of shelter. Not really shelter, just less likely to get struck. And having some couscous for lunch with some bacon.
We're just sitting out in the rain.
We finally made it past the storm now. We are approaching our final ascent up Muir Pass. And we're pretty exhausted and cold and wet. And it was about a 9-mile approach or so this morning. Well, we thought we were approaching our final ascent. Apparently not. We hadn't even made it up to the frozen lakes.
It is 5 p.m. We are at the top of Muir Pass. We are miles and miles and miles from any other person. And this is probably the most wild thing and the most backcountry thing I've ever done.
We are well above the tree line.
The Muir hut is right in front of us.
It's literally this stone hut. It's a little musty inside, but that's to be expected.
Yeah.
With a tiny little window just so you can watch your demise as the storms roll over. And we do have some more storm clouds rolling in this way, so unfortunately we might have to spend a little bit of time in that shelter. We came down from Muir Pass last night. Had to do a little bit of hiking in the dark with our headlamps till about 10 p.m. to actually get down to a spot that was usable and out of the snow. Today's hike has been comparatively easy. We've got a lot of avalanche damage down here, a lot of downed trees, still lots of high water and stuff like that, but still significantly easier travel. We're gonna do a little bit of climbing at the end of the day, get ourselves set up well for Muir Pass, which we've heard has its own set of challenges as well. We're on our final ascent of the day. Jen is looking very beat. And we are climbing up what's called the Golden Staircase. It's not much of stairs, it's still just steep rocky terrain, just like everything else, but it's pretty. And it gets us a little bit closer to Muir Pass for our morning commutes.
We camped last night at this really beautiful spot called Lower Palisade Lakes. We're at 10,650-ish feet, so pretty high elevation, definitely in the alpine area. No campfires here. Today we're gonna go over Muir Pass, somewhere in that direction. It's a 4-mile up, probably many miles down. But it's pass day.
Pass day.
We're at the top of Muir Pass. We came over from our camp spot next to the lake. The north side had not a ton of snow, but the snow it did have was like whoosh. So we put on the spikes so we wouldn't whoosh down. I kept them on for a while. And then we had to climb all of this like loose boulder, loose rock. The spikes help a little bit, but still kind of dangerous. And somebody said yesterday they had to self-arrest. I believe probably on that spot, so we were trying to be extra careful. Everything seems easier now that we did Muir Pass. So this seemed like kind of, not a cakewalk, but really not that bad in comparison. We did start about like halfway up at our campsite. And now we have, I don't know, 6 miles down on that side.
We are making our way up Pincho Pass. We are currently at Lake Marjorie, and the color of this water is insanely blue. It does not show up the same on this camera. This looks like one of the least steep passes that we've done yet, which is really refreshing. Today we've been moving quick, and we got some great rest last night. We had like a nice fire. Actually got to camp before sunset, and had a little bit of downtime to relax. Moving quickly this morning. All right, congrats. You just made it up the top of Pincho Pass. How do you feel?
Snotty. That was not as bad as some of the other ones. But we hear there's a storm coming, a snowstorm. It's August 18th, and there's a snowstorm coming in 2 days. So we're getting a little bit worrisome. We're thinking that we might have to push and complete the rest of it faster than we expected, so we don't get caught in a major snowstorm. Because that could be really dangerous.
So up here on top of Pincho Pass, it is incredibly windy, and that is a pretty strong signal that this storm is definitely going to come here soon. So we got a big decision to make here. Everybody we've been passing on the trail today has been talking about this huge storm coming. We checked our own Garmin, checked the weather on it, and the forecast shows about 3 inches of rain. Sorry, I blew a mosquito off my nose. We can't get to our original exit point where we were gonna resupply before the storm hits, and it would be over some major passes, which would become really dangerous. The rivers are already flooded and it's just gonna flood even worse. So we found a side trail that goes over Sawmill Pass. So we're gonna backtrack a little bit, go over that pass and exit before tomorrow afternoon when that storm starts to hit us. We can't wait it out in the woods because we will run out of food before that happens, before the storm's over. So unfortunately, we just got to make our exit. We're still exiting to the town of Independence, and then that's where we're going to get our resupply for our last section of the trail. Let's go over Kearsarge Pass, back onto the trail, and keep heading south.
Yeah, it's gonna start raining tomorrow afternoon and then continue for the next 2 days. It's gonna get really cold and really wet.
So we would really be thoroughly soaked and freezing, and probably wouldn't be able to get warm at night.
Yeah.
Which could become really dangerous, especially when you're still a couple days away from civilization. Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a bummer, but at the end of the day, it's better to say, hey, we bailed and we were able to finish the last leg between Kearsarge to Whitney than to say,
yeah,
we got hypothermia and we can't finish it at all.
All right, we're at the top of Sawmill Pass. This is our exit point for now. We found out that this storm is actually a Hurricane Hillary. So it's a really good thing that we're getting off the trail as soon as we can. It's gonna start up this afternoon, which is about the same time we're gonna be still exiting the trail. So we're gonna be on the desert side of the Sierras. It might just still dump on us, which could be dangerous, a lot of flooding. We were a little bit concerned about this trail coming up because the trail wasn't maintained. The first couple miles were really boggy and hard to follow. We have 8 miles down and we're dropping about 6,000 feet down to the trailhead. Hopefully it's easy to follow trail.
But we did get a shuttle to come pick us up, so we know that there will be a car down there to get us from this very remote trail.
Yeah, nobody uses this trail. It's impossible to get a hitch there, so we made sure that we used our satellite phone, reached out to a shuttle driver in the region, and he confirmed that he could pick us up.
You know, when nature does its thing, a hurricane goes through, you gotta get out, you gotta make other plans and stay safe. So now we get to see the very deserty eastern side of the Sierras. That'll be fun.
We're fully in the desert now. We just survived an 1.5 hour long hailstorm, and we still have several miles down out of Sawmill Pass. So we're getting close, but these storms are getting pretty wild. Well, we have some bad news, guys.
We have to leave the trail and go home.
There's like mudslides 2 miles away from us. Forecasted today 20 inches of snow on the passes and the peaks that we gotta go over. We don't have the gear for it. We're not prepared. It's wildly different than the weather we've had so far, so we're just not able to finish the trail with what we have. The Sheriff's Department issued a flash flood warning showing that it is marked as extreme flash flooding, and they haven't had that in maybe 50 years here in this county.
So we gotta go home. Back to civilization. Back to our lives.
Something we've been doing for 3 weeks, and we were so close to finishing.
Yeah, we made it to mile 165
Yeah.
of 210.
So coming into this, we knew that it was going to potentially be the most challenging year to do this trail, especially for our first times on the trail. And we know it was already a challenging trail in regular years. So yeah.
Sucks a lot. By day 5, it had already been the longest I'd ever been out in the wilderness. So it like multiplied by a factor of 10 essentially. I've done a few backpacking trips, but now we're gonna be out here for like 200 miles.
Yeah.
And there was definitely a lot of like, I don't really know what to expect, how I'm gonna feel, what that's gonna be like. And then on top of all of that, the winter of 2022 and 2023 has been like the highest snow on record. At Mammoth Lakes, California, they said they got 70 feet of snow,
70
which is crazy.
feet.
Everybody was just bailing, like, it's gonna be too difficult. The snow's not gonna have melted. The streams will be crazy. Just like the weather's gonna be so atypical that you'd be insane to hike it this year.
Along those lines, what's been the biggest challenge since we've started the trail for you?
I guess I thought there would be a lot more like solitude, a lot more time to like think and reflect. Every minute of every day we're either like hiking, we're like recovering, we're making food, we're filtering water, we're trying to get to sleep at a reasonable time. And there's just like, it's constantly on the go. Food energy wise, just like up and down, up and down. Like 1 second I'm pumped, I'm hyped, I'm going over a pass, it's insanely beautiful, it's the coolest thing I've ever done, and then next second I am like covered in mosquitoes, want to cry, haven't showered in how many days, still wearing the same shirt, all sweaty, so dusty.
It's an emotional roller coaster with no brakes. What's been the absolute best part?
I think going over our first pass. So the trail goes through over 10 major passes, and the first one that we went over was Donahue Pass on day 5. Going over that pass, like, you just really feel like you're in the mountains. Like, you've hiked 40 miles to get here. You're at 10,000 feet. Like, you saw the mountains so far.
11, actually.
11?
Yeah.
And now you're in it. It's like the approach to the pass. And really, like, you're not exactly sure where you're gonna go over. It's like twisting and turning. We did this like major U-turn on Donahue, and it's with all the snow up there and like the frozen lakes. It has been so stunning.
We're climbing the north face of every pass, of every mountain, and descending the south face. The north face is just naturally gonna be steeper, rockier, harsher climate, and so that approach to the pass is just so incredible. And then once you get over it, it's like you come into this little oasis that's like much mellower. Everything is like green and grassy, and there's like pools of water that people are like swimming in and stuff. And you know, it's really cool. It's like we just tackled this huge thing, and now we're coming back down the backside, and it's like everyone's celebrating. What's kind of the standout things that have happened? I think like day 1, we saw a brown colored black bear in the campground in Yosemite Valley, like at 5:30 in the morning as we were starting our hike. Like before we even got to the trailhead, we were walking out to it and had that bear just like running back and forth in front of us.
On Donahue, we're eating our lunch, having some amazing backcountry couscous and bacon.
Cold soaked. Yeah.
And we just like start to see a couple marmots poking their heads up. One is approaching. He clearly wants the food. He leaves, brings a friend back, reinforcement, you know. And then they leave. We're like fending them off, waving them off. And now suddenly there's like 4 of them like swarming us.
They're coming in around us like a pack of wolves, just like hunting.
Yeah.
Like we're like an injured rabbit, and they're just like closing in on us.
Nope.
Eventually, we just like had to pack up and like leave the pass and like start hiking down because the marmots were just gonna eat our food.
We had to hitch a ride back to our the inn we stayed at Mammoth Lakes because the bus just like stops running there.
Like 6 p.m. or something.
Yeah, I think it's like
really
4
early.
p.m.
Yeah.
And so when we tried to get on the bus, they're like, "We are not going there. The best thing you can do is hitch a ride. Like, put out your thumb."
We're in our minds, we're like, all right, we're about to walk like 5 miles down a windy mountain road in the pitch black. And we stick our thumbs out, like the third car is like, yeah, come on, get in.
It's like big smiles, like, please pick me up. Have you had any like major life revelations?
I haven't really had any big revelations.
I don't think I've had any like big life revelations, but it does kind of like reinforce small things that they say, like enjoy the moment, enjoy the present, because that goes back to the fact that at one moment I'm like all happy, all ecstatic, because we are, you know, seeing the most beautiful mountains in the U.S., and then the next moment I'm just, why are we here? Like, it's not supposed to be all sunshine, all like a walk in the park the whole time. It is about the up and the down and pushing through it. And there was only one moment where I ever thought, do I really want this? Should I just bail? And that was like just sitting in mosquitoes.
Yeah, that was day 2.
That was day 2. But other than that, like, I have never thought, this is hard and I don't want to do it anymore. It's like, this is hard, but like, we're gonna adjust. We're gonna like get the right gear. We're gonna
get rid of the wrong gear.
Yeah. And we're gonna keep going because it is all part of the like amazing experience.
I'm gonna just adjust that a little bit. We're gonna get rid of all of the extra weight. We're gonna take some ibuprofen and we're gonna keep walking.
They call them hiker chiclets. Just keep popping ibuprofen within reason.